Hi and welcome to tonight's tutorial. I'm Pan Wrigley and I am a bridal makeup artist and hairstylist. And if you've joined me before here on YouTube, you'll know that I do lots of bridal hair tutorials. And a lot of the time they're inspired by either my students or by the brides that I've been working with kind of in the previous week. And today I'm going to show you how to create this really beautiful, simple and elegant half up style that I created on one of my gorgeous brides on Saturday, Janet. And yeah, it was just a lovely, beautiful half up, half down style. Now, her bridesmaids all had soft, kind of textured, messy buns, but she wanted a lovely half up, half down style. She had beautiful long hair and she wanted to show, she didn't want to kind of hide all her hair away. And it was quite thick and gorgeous. So I created this lovely, effortless looking style for her. So I'm going to show you today how to recreate that look. Now, it's a look that you could, would work. It works beautifully for a bride, but it would also work really well for a bridal party. So it's a very versatile hairstyle. Now, if you have any questions as we go through the tutorial, please just pop your questions into the chat box. Hello, Adjua, she's just joined us here. Just pop your questions into the chat box and I will do my best, my absolute best to keep an eye on the chat box. But quite often I kind of get a bit caught up in the hairstyle. So I apologize now in advance if I don't answer all your questions. But we do have an online bridal hair course as well as our live YouTube tutorials. So if there's anything that you feel, you can't quite see close up and in detail, then we've got lots of information, curling techniques, different hair prep techniques, working with different hair lengths, different hair types, working with different products, lots of detail on our e-learning site, and you can get some information on that in the intro. And we've got a special offer on at the moment, so you can save 50% off. So if you do want to, if you want to become a bridal hairstylist, then I definitely recommend having a look at that course. But it's always lovely to join my subscribers here on YouTube. I think that's Carter John. Hello, good evening. Thank you for joining. So as I say, if I miss the question because I'm too busy doing the hairstyle, then you can always get in touch with me later, either via YouTube with our comments box, or you can join me online on our e-learning site. But let's get cracking with today's style. Now, if you've been working with your practice head quite a lot recently, you might find that you've got quite a build up of product, and you might find it difficult to get the hair, to work with the straighteners on the hair to get it kind of really smooth and silky. But don't despair, you don't have to kind of wash your practice head too often, I find. What you can do, if you're finding the straighteners are just kind of catching a little bit on the hair, then you can always use your tongs to just kind of go over the hair. You could use a little bit of styling care lotion, but she's already got some styling care lotion on, this lady. And I'm just going to go over and almost use the tongs, you can see, to kind of smooth the hair. Now, if you're working with a client, then I would definitely recommend using the straighteners and using a little bit of styling care lotion, which is this one, the Silhouette product. Use a little bit of your styling care lotion. It's a kind of heat protector, and it gets rid of flyaways, and it makes the hair shiny and glossy. So there's nothing not to like about that product. It's light as well, so it works really well even on the finest hair. So you can smooth down the hair. Use your straighteners if you're working with your client. Smooth down the hair first, and then you're going to put a curl in the hair. So Janet didn't want her hair too curly. She just wanted a soft kind of bouncy curl. And at the top here, we've just got a little bit of movement. So what we're going to do to achieve this look, you could use a little spritz of your styling care lotion. I don't need to on this practice head. She's already got quite a bit of product on there, but you could use a little bit more styling care lotion. And then you're going to take, let me just make sure you can see what I'm doing here. And you're going to take the tongs, which I'm still on camera, to the end of the hair, and we're going to roll the tongs up the hair. Nice and simple. It's almost as if you're putting a heated roller in the hair, or you are kind of doing a curly blow dry, and you've got your brush that you roll up the hair with the blow dryer on there, and you might do, you know, you'd be rolling it up and down the hair if you're using a blow dryer here and a brush. But here we're kind of getting the same look. We don't want to hold it on too long because we don't want a massively tight curl. We don't want a big kind of ringlet. We just want, let me just show you here. Let me just check these questions. Could I do this style on a bob? Sorry, Carter's just asked. You could do this style on a bob easily, actually. You just wouldn't get this amount of curl. You'd just have a little bit of a curve maybe, and you'd stop here. So yeah, you could do this style with the braids coming across the back here. So you can see we've got this kind of soft curl just at the ends of the hair, and at the top of the hair here, it's just smooth and glossy. So it almost looks like, you know, if you're a qualified hairdresser, if you're a qualified hairdresser, you'll have done lots of blow dries. But if you're perhaps, maybe you're a makeup artist, and maybe you're just starting working with hair and you're not overly confident blow drying the hair, then heated rollers are a great option. And also, if you get a kind of maybe slightly larger tong, you don't want to go too much bigger. This is a 24mm tong. You could maybe go the next size up, but you'll find that the curls do drop. So this kind of gives you kind of almost a curly, bouncy, blow-dried look. Almost. It's not quite there, but it's kind of the closest you can get to it. You get lovely glossy hair and a little bounce at the end. And what we're going to do next is create a braid. So I've already done one here. Now I do have we do have another tutorial in our live section where I kind of created a braid on somebody who had very fine hair and she wanted a very thick, chunky braid. So I've shown you how to create this very thick, chunky braid. So if you look back in our kind of back catalogue, you'll see me creating a braid where I'm adding extra hair to the braid as I go along, because she didn't have a lot of hair at the front here for me to create this big chunky braid. She had some layers cut in, but she did want a thick braid. So if your lady has layers in, there is a way to get a very thick, fat braid, even though the hair is short. So if you just go back through our live catalogue, you'll see that that was another style I did on one of my brides last year. So let's see. So what we need to do here is create a little bit of shape here at the back. Decide whether she wants, this lady doesn't want too much height. She wants it to be quite kind of simple and effortless. If she did want height here, you would need to kind of secure this with a bobby pin at the back. So kind of play with your sections. If she's got highlights here, then you would need to just make sure they're all kind of lying in the right place before you secure. And sometimes what I find, I'm going to do this fairly quickly here, but sometimes what I find, let me turn those tongs off. I'll leave them there to cool down. Sometimes what I find really helps is to take a photograph of the hair just to see, because you'll find even as you're going along, just take a picture of the hair and it will show you any kind of bits of hair that aren't quite lying in the right place. So it can be really helpful to take photographs as you go along. Okay, so Now, if she didn't like her ears here, you might need to be careful not to pull too much hair back. So we might want that bit down. So all these little things all go towards creating, I should say, the perfect style. And I'm working with a mirror just off camera, which I find invaluable. So then you can it allows you to see the hair at a bit of a distance. Alternatively, as I say, or as well, it's a good idea to take little pictures and just to check that you're happy with how the hair is sitting, and whether she's got enough hair down over her ears, whether she wants a little bit more back. And look, this hair is lovely and smooth and glossy. And if you'd seen this practice head about an hour ago, the hair looked dry and brittle, but a little bit of heat and the right product will go a long way. Good evening, Louisa. Thank you for joining me tonight. Now, although this looks like a really complicated braid, just let me make sure, I'm going to try and get them in even sizes. I think that's about right. It looks like quite a complicated braid because at the back it almost looks like a hairband, but it's literally just a regular braid. So I'm just going one, it's just a regular 3-strand braid. Now you could here, I can tell one's a little bit thinner than the others, but they might be okay. You could here do, a fishtail braid, but might look lovely. But Janet just wanted it simple and beautiful, and that's exactly what she got. So it's just a regular braid, and then we're going to start to loosen the braid. So you this is the bit that can take a bit of time. So I'm just going to and when I'm loosening the braid here, you're pulling it from the outside edge of that section. And just work your way gently up the braid. Now, if you find your client, let's just check. Good evening. If you find your client has got very soft, silky hair, you can put a little bit of, if you did a little bit of a blow dry, first of all, with a little bit of mousse, you could use salt spray, but you could use a bit of mousse. It just gives a little bit of texture to the hair. And you want to keep these, let me just make sure this is just using my end of my tail comb just to make sure this braid doesn't loosen too much. So if you blow dry with a little bit of mousse first, if the hair is very soft and silky, you'll find that first of all it will help the curls to hold, but it will also mean that when you start to loosen out the braid like this, it won't keep slipping back out of this loose shape. So just work your way and take your time, working your way up and down the braid to get this beautiful full chunky braid effect. And then in a minute, we're just going to join them both together at the back, and it's almost going to look like a little hairband at the back of the hair. Now you could, if you wanted to, if you're finding it quite difficult if the hair's very thin, as well as the mousse, what you could do at this stage is maybe sprinkle a little bit of texturizing powder along the braid. So when you pull out and loosen the hair, it holds together a little bit, but you want to wait till you get to the pulling out stage. You don't want to put it in beforehand because you won't be able to, it'd be hard to separate the hair and create the braid, which is not, we don't want to create problems for ourselves. Keep an eye on here. Make sure the size is even as you work your way down the braid. You can tell this one here is a little bit fine. So take your time at the beginning and make sure that the sections of hair are evenly spaced, evenly sized, I should say. Or else you might find you get one little thin one. There it is there, and here it is here. that kind of don't quite pull out. But, you know, if you did find that was happening, that's where the texturizing powder would come in really handy. Beautiful. Checking in the mirror. And when you stop, and remember to take a couple of pictures, have a look. Make sure you're happy. Her ears are covered. She's happy with this bit here. That's it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pop a clip on. And as long as it's kind of long enough to reach to the back of the head, around here, that's it, it's probably going to stop around there, then we don't need to braid any further. So this is one that I created earlier, a braid here. So I'm going to bring this back. And what I did on Janet, with Janet's hair, is I put a little bit of texturizing powder because I don't want to put a hairband here because it's going to make it kind of a bit thick and a bit kind of chunky, a bit bulky at back. So what I did was I put a little bit of texturizing powder just at the end of the braid. I don't need to do that on my practice head though. And I just back combed. Let me just see if I can show you here. So I'm just putting a little bit of back combing just where I put the texturizing powder. Well, where I haven't put the texturizing powder in the practice head, because if you put it in the practice head, it's practically impossible to get out. And then all I'm going to do is twist. So let me show you here. So I'm going to hold the hair in my finger and thumb, twist that braid. So my thumb is then flat against the head. And I'm going to pop a bobby pin. I can do it at this kind of odd angle. Just get a bobby pin here and pop the bobby pin underneath my thumb and at the back of the head there. Perfect. Just unravel the end of that braid. And then the other side, we're going to check our questions again. Yes, Adra, thank you for that question. I do take photographs and I also make really detailed notes of the hair prep that I've done. So whether I've used mousse or which products I've used, whether I've done a blow dry, whether I've used salt spray or which curling technique I used. Let's bring this across here. Photographs are great because it kind of shows you the end result. But I find, so if it's a person, a bit of texturizing powder, bit of back combing, you don't really need texturizing powder on the practice head. Apart from the fact it's practically impossible to get out, the hair's actually quite dry on the practice head. So it back combs, usually back combs incredibly easily. So you don't need it on the practice head anyway. And get our little twist in the hair, little fold, bring that there so it joins that other braid there, and you've got those two kind of braids kind of butting up against each other here, so you can't see where it starts and you can't see where it begins. Then go a little bit further forward. Let me lift her up a little bit so hopefully you can see. That's it. Here we go. Little twist. Hold the braid where I want it to be held here. So yes, Adra, back to your question. Sorry about that. So I take photographs and I do very detailed notes, and I keep a record of the hair, of the styles that I've done. So I'm trying to do this back to front. That's it. I think I've got it right. And you also want to make sure you're hiding this bobby pin. Sometimes what I do is I send the pictures to the bride. That's better. So I'll send the photographs to the bride and I'll keep the pictures as well myself, but I also take detailed notes and I find that really helps. Let's just loosen that a little bit. We don't have that dip. I think she's there. She's got a gorgeous soft curl. You can recurl these a little bit if you feel you need to at the back where we brought our sections back. I'd say these need a little bit of an extra bit of TLC. See if I can pop those back on and get them warm. Oops, didn't secure that very well. When you do this, I'm going to actually stand at the right angle. So there, that's better. Much better. If in doubt, pop in another bobby pin. But that feels much better already. That's it. And then I'm going to recurl these little bits of, look, can you see that's the wrong colour pin? I use a blonde. It's doing a great job, but you don't want to be able to see the bobby pins at all. So let's get a nice dark bobby pin. It's actually staying in place with the one that I put in before, but you want to make sure we don't any chances, that's better, of this coming down. And it's really secure actually, so you could pop the veil here, or you could have the veil at the front kind of here. Yes, I'll show you a close-up of the braid. Sorry, Carter, 1 second. Let's just take the tongs to the end, curl them up. Hold that just for a second. So you might need to recurl the ends of the braids so it kind of sits nicely with the rest of the hairstyle. And let me bring her up a little bit so you can see this gorgeous kind of chunky looking. You don't want that to go underneath there though, that's going to go on top of that. It all needs a little bit of tweaking. That's better. So we've got a lovely kind of chunky braid, so that's the one that we've just created. Joins at the back, and we've got our braid on the other side with a lovely kind of soft curl. This needs recurling, that one. And yeah, that's it. And she's lovely, and it's quite simple, you know, it's a beautiful style, as I say, for either the bride or for the bridesmaid, and for lots of different hair lengths. So you could do it if she had a little short bob, you could do, I'd use a smaller tong and I'd wave the hair a little bit if she had a short bob. So it's kind of got a, looks a little bit maybe like a beachy wave almost, or you could do a soft curl, but I'd use a smaller tong if she had very short hair, like a little short bob, and then you do the braid. And there you go. And if, you know, if you've done this style for a trial, you could maybe then try a different idea by maybe putting a little bit of padding on, creating a little bun here at the back, a little soft bun. She could have a little 2-in-1 style. If on the wedding day she couldn't decide whether she wanted her hair up or down, you could, I suppose, just pin this hair up, create a little messy updo somehow. But if you do this, you'd need to work with the curl. You don't want it, because then when she takes it out, she's got a lovely curl. So don't kind of start pulling your fingers through the curls. You can just pick up the curls, pin them up, and create a lovely kind of messy bun. And you know, if you're doing a trial, then sometimes it's a good idea to just do something. This is a bit impromptu, this one. Just do a quick kind of messy bun and see if she fancies an updo instead of a hair down. I've got to say, it looks a bit crazy. And maybe we'd maybe spend more than 30 seconds on it if she was going to have it pinned up. But you get the idea, I hope. But it's a really easy way of getting a little bun style if you're doing a trial run without having to kind of start from scratch and take it all down again. So it's always best to give your brides, your clients, choice. So I hope you've enjoyed tonight's tutorial, and I hope you can join me again next week. I'm very busy at the moment with lots and lots of brides. So if if you have any styles that your clients have asked you for, actually it's not too bad. If you have any styles that your clients have asked you for and you're not sure how to create it, then please just get in touch. Let's check our, oh yeah, I've just showed you a close-up of the braid, sorry. So yeah, if you've got any styles that you'd like to learn, just drop me a note, and I am here to help. So I look forward to seeing you next time. So take care and have a really good week. Okay, lots of love. Bye.